Good morning, everyone. It feels like it's been months, but here I am with the amazing, beautiful Yvette.
Good morning.
What's
I
up,
haven't been
Yvette?
here in a while.
It's been a week because we had the mastery class all last week, and now we're back.
We're back.
It's exciting. So, what do we have today? Today, we're going to talk about a quote that's in this incredible book, Ask and It Is Given. Highly, highly, highly recommend this book. It is really, really good. Um,
Maybe we should link it below after.
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So we'll link it below so you'll be able to see, but it's Ask and It Is Given. So we want to talk about the quote that's on the screen today. Because, we talk about mindset all the time and we talk about the power of the mind, but we're going to explain this quote and how what we think about really becomes what we are.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. Because we do it every day. I go through my life script every day on, just positive thoughts and, and just bringing myself back.
Yeah.
Just when I have the negative pop up, I bring it right back.
Right.
I don't want to put anything negative out there.
Right. So we want to just keep coming back to either neutral or positive. Neutral or positive. Yeah. Negative starts. How do we know negative starts? Because we start feeling bad, right?
Yeah.
So we automatically move over to the positive. So let's talk about this quote that's on the screen, okay? So you get what you think about whether you want it or not. Ready? So listen to this. By the powerful universal law of attraction, you draw to yourself the essence of whatever you're predominantly thinking about. Now, how many of you out there have experienced this, right? You think about something. You think about, I wonder how the party's going to go that we're planning. Maybe it's going to be bad. Maybe something bad will happen. And then what potentially happens?
That's what happens.
Something bad comes up, right? Or you wake up and you say, oh, you know what? You stub your toe and it's a bad day. And like things just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And what ends up happening?
You have a bad day.
Things just keep getting worse. Yeah, exactly. So let's continue with the quote. So if you're predominantly thinking about the things that you desire, your life experience reflects those things. Thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. Because there's a lot of people who will fixate on their lack. I don't have money right now. I'm not going to have money. And you know what? What's going to happen? There's going to be more of the lack. I mean, you just have to get the mind into the mindset of it's coming. It's not here right now, but it's coming, instead of just thinking of the lack. Because the constant thinking of lack is just going to bring you more lack of money or lack of whatever else that you're thinking of.
Right, and when you're thinking lack, your actions that you take towards it are coming from that place of lack. Therefore, you're really not going to get what you want. So let's continue on. So in the same way, if you're predominantly thinking about what you do not want, your life experience reflects that. So whatever you're thinking about is like planning a future event. So think about this. When we sit down and we're going to plan out an event, we write it out on paper and we kind of follow all the different tasks, and then we end up getting what we want in our life. Well, it's the same thing with our thoughts, except when they're running on autopilot, what happens, right? We get whatever we think about consistently. So if we don't actually work on it, if we don't think about it, if we don't focus on our thoughts, then we're going to end up getting things that we don't really want, because the typical thought process for most people runs on the negative, right?
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
Well, my thinking on that is I started doing last week with the group a life script. So I wrote out my life exactly the way I see it, exactly the way I want it, between my relationships, how I want my business, everything to the T. So that way I'm not focusing on lack or negative things. This is the way it is.
Yeah.
This is the way the money is. This is the way my job, my business, my relationship.
And how has it felt as you've been listening to it
Amazing.
and reading it? Yeah.
Because anytime I found myself just going to the negative a little bit, I then just go back to that, and I'm like, okay, this is, and it just plays over, and I just have it memorized now. So
Well, that's
I
good.
just go over and over.
What better thing to have memorized, right? Many of us have memorized, I'm not good enough, I'm
Yeah.
not smart enough, I'm stupid, I'm ugly. We don't want to have that playing on autopilot. So what you did was you wrote it down, and now you're constantly playing over what you want to have happen in your life, which is amazing.
Yeah, and then you can play it to music. So it just constantly plays. When I'm at the gym, I'll play it. It's just, reprogramming the subconscious. And it starts to believe this before it's happened.
We become what we think about. We become what we think about. So Yvette took the script of what she wanted in her life. She reads it over and over, listens to it over and over, and ultimately she becomes what she wants. Now, obviously, you have to take action, but when you're programming your mind on what you want, you start taking actions towards that as well. Because what you get, what you become, what you think about. So let's finish this quote. And I love this last piece. Think about this for a second. Do you do this? Think about this. When you are worrying, you're planning. Yeah. Worrying is using your imagination to create something that you do not want. Now, how many of us out there worry, right? We just worry about all kinds of things. And what we're actually doing is we're putting out to the universe, hey, here's how I'm thinking. So perhaps give me those results, because that's what I'm focusing on. What we focus on consistently, we get. Yeah. So if we have that power, why not focus on what we want rather than what we don't want?
Yeah, I was really surprised this morning when you read me that piece of the worry, because I'm getting good at the negative, of changing the negative to positive or neutral, but the worrying, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, we all do that. Everyone, listen, even people that are working consistently and trying, there are still times where things come up. But let's think about this. If the worry is, oh my gosh, I'm worried about money and finances. I just don't have enough. We've got COVID. I am not making as much as I was in the past. Whatever it was.
It's the dog. Sorry.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. The dog was eating something. But we get what we worry and what we think about. So, So if that's the case, what should we be thinking about consistently?
What we want, what we really want in life, not the negative. It's not what we don't have. Just think about it as you already have. You have an abundance of happiness. You have an abundance of money.
Right. Worrying is using your imagination to create what you do not want.
I need to work on that.
That we all do. Yeah. We all need to work on that, because what we go into is what we were taught when we were little. When something happens, you need to worry about it, because if you don't worry about it, then something's wrong. But you don't have to worry. You can do the opposite and start thinking of the positive, like, no, this is going to work out. Everything's working out for me. I'm going to do what I need to do to make this situation work. And those thoughts and the feelings of what I need to do are going to come to me. And when they do, I'm going to take action on it. Now, if you don't think that way and you worry, what will you get?
You're going to get more of what you're worrying about.
Exactly. And you know what? Our mentor, Bob Proctor, he said this to me over and over, and I love it. He said, do what I tell you to do until you can prove me wrong. Do what I tell you to do until you can prove me wrong. And he says that all the time, and he's 100% right. Try this. See if it works for you. But you can't do it one time and say, oh, it didn't work. You got to do it consistently over and over and over again, just like we do with our worry and negative thoughts. Any closing comments?
No, it's so true, because remember, we have been doing it, I've been doing it for more than 40 years the opposite way. So now it's retraining the subconscious, the brain, to do it now, the opposite, doing it positive. So it takes time to train the mind.
It takes time, but just remember, if you don't take the time to do it, what will just automatically play in your head is all the negative. So it might be worthwhile to consider, let me try this. Let me give it a shot and see if it works. So rather than worrying about what you don't want to happen, plan on what you do want to have happen. And even if you're not sure how that's going to happen, just play that script in your head of what you want to happen. And then you might just get an inspired thought. And when you get that inspired thought, which tells you, oh, yeah, move in this direction, take action on that. And before you know it, you'll have what you want rather than what you don't want. That's it for today. Have a wonderful day. We will see you tomorrow at 7:30. And that's
Have
a
a great
wrap.
one.
Have a great, great, great one.